Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.
Dylan Lewis is with us today. Have you ever been involved in a bizarre, mad Mel Gibson boozy rampage, Dylan Lewis?
Tell the truth.
Funny you should mention that, Tony.
Tell the truth.
Mel Gibson, I'm sure people have heard the news, pulled over, a bit of drink driving, handcuffed, thrown in the back of a car. Suddenly the Jews are responsible.
Oh, dear.
Effing Jews. The Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world, Gibson is reported to have said. He then asked the deputy, are you a Jew? How do you go from I'm a bit pissed to the Jews are responsible for all the wars of the world?
They're responsible for all the best music in history as well, like the Beastie Boys.
Most of the good jokes. Yeah.
Most of the good jokes, which we can't say.
But anyway, when Mel Gibson's father heard about his anti-Jewish rampage, he said, that's my boy. No! Gibson began banging against the seat of the car, shouting, you mother effer, I'm going to F you. He claimed he owned most of Malibu and would spend all of his money to get even with this one cop. Man, there's a project.
Wow.
It's a great photo of him. He looks fantastic, doesn't he? The Mel with a ciggy hanging out. Or is that a blunt?
I hope it's not a blunt.
He's going to get even with him by forcing him to watch Bird on a Wire.
Bird on a Wire? Were the Jews responsible for that one, Mel Gibson?
Probably.
They probably were. And then, this is my favourite line, though. At the police station, Gibson became further belligerent and yelled at a female sergeant, what do you think you're looking at, sugar tits? Before being led to his cell where he unzipped his pants to urinate.
Now, my respect levels for Mel have just gone right up.
So much going on.
Fantastic.
Sugar tits.
Hey, sugar tits.
That's awful.
How do you... I just don't know how you get into a car. Surely the main issue is you're pissed. How does it segue? How do you engineer the conversational segue to the Jews responsible for all
They
wars?
need a breath tester for racism as well, perhaps. Just blow into here. Oh, no, you cannot drive today. You've got some wrong thoughts on the mind.
Come with me.
Last night, something wacky was going on. Big Brother himself was showing his lighter side. Is that right?
Yeah, I watched it. It was hilarious. I was on the floor crying with laughter. Big Brother's a funny, funny man. He is.
Let's have a clip. Here we go.
Do you like the ice sculptor?
Yeah, it's unreal.
Big Brother had it carved this morning.
Not bad for Queensland.
Max, what have you missed the most since you entered the house?
My mum.
Yeah, real. There's nothing like Mum's cooking, is there?
That's right.
Spaghetti aglio olio.
Big Brother is also partial to ossobuco.
Oh, she does the best ossobuco.
She doesn't.
Can you do that, Big Brother?
He's pissed.
He's unreal.
Big Brother's pissed. He'll be blaming the Jews next.
I love that. I would watch. I would watch if that was what was going on.
Yeah. Like a Roy Orbison full deep one. He leant into the microphone for it. It was beautiful.
And he had little pause where he was like, "Can I? Should I?
And
I will."
He did because it was an informal occasion.
It's
I mean, that was
hilarious.
beautiful.
It's like hearing Howl on 2001.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, it is very sci-fi.
Open the pod bay doors and let's party.
Do you like when he said the ice sculptor? Big Brother had it carved this morning. Max goes, not bad for Queensland.
Oi!
What does Max know about the ice sculpting, prowess of our Queensland brothers and sisters?
Especially with water
This is what I'm
being
saying.
so thin on the ground.
Yeah.
They've got to be very careful with the ice sculptures up there.
Dirt sculpting.
I'm not even sure if it's legal.
No, they have
It's too
dirt
hot up
sculptures at parties these days.
Oh, you can do an ice sculpture if it's made out of poo water. That's fine.
Recycled, is that what you mean?
Sorry, pardon me.
My brother's here from New York, and he saw that ad, a story about the Queensland water, about how they're worried about drinking poo water.
Yeah.
And he said, when I lived in New York, the water I drank had been through the human body 5 times.
Yeah, 5.
7 times in London.
Really?
7 times. You think of that every time you have a glass of water? Awful. Or a cup of tea. Nice cup of tea.
Nice cup of poo water. Have you got anything with less poo in it?
Nah.
Come on, love.
The biscuits don't have much poo in them.
Go blimey.
It's better than your meat coffee that you serve here.
Oh, it's very pooey, that. Hey, another movie topic we've been talking about. Yobbo's Up the Guts. The
What's
Australian film currently in production. It's a real film.
Yobbo's Up the Guts.
Being
Is that
directed.
what you said?
Yeah. Bill Hunter's directing and starring.
Up the Guts?
Up the guts, right up the guts, buddy.
Jeez.
Warwick
A bit
Kappa.
graphic.
We want information about what's going on,
That's
but
something rude.
Warwick Kappa stars in it.
Yep.
Now, over the weekend, Kappa now a stripper.
What?
Fantastic.
Zany former AFL star Warwick Kappa
And Celebrity Big Brother member.
is working as a part-time stripper. Kappa is charging up to $3,000 for a 35-minute show. Says Warwick, "It's money well spent. I am not cheap, but I am good.
35 minutes.
I was in Penthouse 3 times, so I don't mind stripping. It's just a bit of fun." Gold Coast-based Kappa, 43, is in the, he's the star attraction of internet business redhotstrippers.biz. Warwick Kappa's star is on the rise and rise, the website boasts. Did we mention he's huge? And we're not just talking about his height. We're talking about his width. That's what it says on the website.
all
For
about girth.
a $3,000 corporate package, Kappa will perform a song and strip down to his tight pink shorts. He will then do a meet and greet session with the audience, posing for photos and signing autographs.
Meat.
Meat. It's more meat than
Greet
greet.
my meat.
The former footy star also offers a $1,200 discount package for housewives and hens parties.
Oh, with a happy ending.
This is my favourite line from the article. "We've had a few calls already," says Warwick. "I've got a job booked in Papua New Guinea next month."
No. You should get him on the show to do that.
What happens in
$3,000's nothing.
He's
You'll
wa-
get the discount.
getting around Papua New Guinea in your tight pink shorts?
Jesus, Warwick.
Is that going to work?
Has he got tattoos?
Has he got tattoos? I think he has got a tattoo, hasn't he?
Well, he's got some crap tats, actually, because
Yes.
he's been dumped by his fiancée, Perth woman Jo Froome, and his wife used to be called Joanne, and he says, "I have Joe and Indy tattooed on my leg, and now I don't have to change it." Isn't that great?
that's so lucky.
if you continuously go out with women called Joe,
Yeah.
you never have to get your tat changed.
That is the trick.
Do you think that's what he's done? Do you think he's just, "What's your name?" No. "What's your name?" No.
No,
There's
no.
a J in it. Oh, near close.
Can you change your name to Joe?
Rob Carlton is with us, in case you're wondering.
Tony, how are you?
Tropfist. So you've done a bit of that, but you know we've printed out the resume.
Mhm.
And the year my voice broke, was that your first movie?
That was my first film, the year my voice broke.
What do you do in that?
I got bashed up by Ben Mendelsohn on that,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
shoved my head down a toilet.
You know, Ben Mendelsohn loves to say the year my voice broke was his first movie because it looks good. It wasn't.
No.
What was?
The Still Point.
What's that?
It's a film made in 2 years before the year my voice broke in Melbourne
Yeah.
with Ben Mendelsohn and Greg Fleet.
Oh.
Comes on this show.
Oh, yes.
And Mendelsohn and I think Steve Bastoni get to do what I think is one of the classic archetypal Aussie movie scenes, which is sort of outdoors at a beer garden with white plastic furniture, and 2 blokes decide to go each other, and a third bloke, Fleety, has to step in and go, hey, fellas, calm it down.
Please.
Have you ever done any of that?
Mate, I've done... No, generally I haven't calmed anyone down.
Right.
I'm normally the hot spot on the side looking to come in with a big fist. That's
You've
when
done
got,
it all. Look,
when you've
you've
got
been in-
eyes like mine, Tony, you're not getting cast as the nice guy.
When you go along to auditions, what
Yeah.
do you generally find yourself doing?
Threatening to kill.
Right.
And then when because I saved the actual murder for the shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So,
right,
you know,
yeah.
but I like to, obviously, there's often some, in my earlier days, it was more just threatening behaviour.
Right.
And then as I got sort of older and more mature, we really launched into a sort of more physical violence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And deaths now, because we
Deaths.
have a friend, Billy Pennell, rock
Yes.
guru.
Right.
He's got an uncle called Ron Pennell, who's a guy you will just see in, Man from the Left in Homicide. And he does a fantastic routine, apparently, at parties where he'll relate how many deaths he's, I've done. I've died 7 times in Homicide, 3 in Bluey,
Okay.
2 in Signal 1, fell off a tall building in Matlock Police.
Yeah.
How many deaths for you?
I've had 4 deaths.
4?
Yeah, I've had 4 deaths. I've had a couple of near deaths, but it's the lead up to that. You don't start at dying, Tony, and this is
No.
the mistake a lot of young actors make.
Right. They get killed too early.
No. They go in and they start with death. See, now before I actually died, as I said, I got my head flushed down the toilet there in the ear. My voice broke.
By Mendo.
That's right. You remember the Reverend Bob from East Street?
Tony Martin.
Yeah. Now I didn't
I'm still
die
getting
on
his
East
royalty
Street.
checks.
There you go.
That's what equity reckon.
Now I didn't die on East Street, but the Reverend Bob kicked me out of East Street.
What for?
City.
Hey?
What for?
Well, in what I consider a rather unchristian act.
What have
And
you
that-
been up to, though?
Hey,
Did you steal-
I've been threatening young Rebecca Elmalaglu
Oh, right.
and planting stolen goods.
Threatening her with mispronunciation.
Yeah, that's right. All of those. So Reverend Bob, and looking back, like at the time, I thought it's probably fair enough. I get kicked out of E Street. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a bad influence.
Bad influence on wheels.
That's right. But then looking back on it, I was exactly the sort of kid the Reverend Bob should have been looking after.
That's true.
You know? No, because my role, friends, is to play the guestie. And it's up to the leads to throw the guestie out. Alf, Summer Bay. He kicked me out of Summer Bay.
You've been kicked out of Summer Bay
By
by Alf.
Alf, hey?
Did you
Now,
cop
if I had my time over, I'd go back there and I'd snot Alf.
There you go.
And what was he saying as he kicked you out? Was there a couple
You
of
bloody mongrel.
Bloody
he said,
mongrel.
get out of here, you bloody mongrel, and if I ever see you back again, I'll go you what for.
You've been mongrelled by Alf.
But
I
what did you
have.
do? What did you do to get kicked out of Summer
Look,
Bay?
I never touched that girl. I never touched her. I never was gonna touch her.
Have you ever
but
been-
she was looking at me.
She
She liked
You
me.
should have known better. But have you been killed or chased out of the same fictional town as two different characters? Like a couple
Oh
of years
hell yeah!
apart?
Well, I tell you what, we haven't. Yeah, definitely. On a country practice, I had a testicle removed.
Was that part of the show? Or
Yeah,
just-
no, without a shadow of a doubt. It's all scripted, Tony. I'm an actor, a character actor. And they removed my testicle and they sent it to Burrigan for testing. So if ever you're in Burrigan, I'm sure it's still in a jar somewhere. But water rats. I got shot dead on water rats.
What
and-
for? What for?
Oh, I was awful. I was awful to Frank Holloway.
Is that Frilsey or is
Yeah,
that Steve
Frilsey.
Bisley?
No. That was. I come back later after they shot me, and then I had a set two with Steve as
Wow,
a different
so
character.
Killed by Frilsey.
No, killed near Frilsey because they wanted clean hands.
Right, so and
Clean
Bizzo
hands.
finishes the job.
No. I had been killed, right, and then I was resurrected. Came back as a different character.
Right.
This time to dispose of a child's body improperly. Not to be confused with my first Water Rats character, who was a drug dealing rapist.
Right.
So this time I came back to dispose of a body improperly, and then I attacked the same office that I'd attacked before. This time I went in with a bat. I think the last time was with an axe. So art department had been working hard. And then so I come in and that one, I never had a proper set two with him on the second one. And I didn't die on the second one too, which was
Right.
and which was great for me because I thought they can bring me back as a regular, and then the show got axed entirely. And that was
Favourite death scene?
favourite death scene, arrow through the heart in the American TV series Raw.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey,
nice.
wasn't Heath Ledger in Raw?
Yeah, and it was Heath Ledger that I was trying to kill
Right.
when I copped the arrow through the heart.
Who
And,
shot the arrow? Who
hey,
copped? Did Melissa George get you?
No. The other lady whose name escapes me now,
Yeah,
Tony.
right. She's great. She's excellent.
And some of her best work is done off screen.
Okay. It's time to go round the states. Something for everyone. Victoria.
What do we got?
Steve Vizard's back in the news.
How is he?
Yeah. He was a disgraced businessman, Steve Vizard. Pardon me. There was the bit where somebody burgled his house. I know we were convinced it was probably Steve Bedwell. But no, it was a real burglar, and it's all gone to court. And I'm sure people have heard the story. Vizard chased the man to his car, and the man later discovered his wallet was missing. And that Vizard somehow now owns all rights in perpetuity to the man's burglar character. That's Victoria covered. What's going on? What are you doing here?
I'm a little bit. I'm up in New South Wales here, from the world of Vizard to the world of fashion. And thankfully there's a new jeans label coming out because there's not enough of those.
Is it a high-panted jeans label?
Well, it's kind of like a do you have a mustache and an oily haircut kind of label. Now the deal is these are the sorts of jeans the creative director says they're the sort of jeans you'll wear when you drive a Maserati or fly your own plane.
Right, so like the creative director.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, these are the folks they've got on board who are like they've got Grinspoon and Steve Bastoni. Now, I'm a big Grinspoon and Steve Bastoni fan. But
Yes.
I don't remember seeing Steve swinging past in his own private plane. So, and that's and then to follow it up, this is the creative director He's having a birthday, and he's going to be he's going to have lots of celebrities on a luxury yacht, and he'll be pouring Dom Perignon.
They're going to be great jeans.
Where are our invites?
Why would you waste your time having friends when you can have a jeans label and celebrities?
I'd like to think that if Steve Bastone's there, and also maybe Ben Mendelsohn would be there, and Greg Fleet would be there, and they get into the same blue they get into in the still point, and then Fleety could step in. Hey, fellas!
Settle up, stop it down, stop it down. I could come flying in from the side with a flying face button. Just as I'm about to make any sort of impact, I'll get shot.
Now, those are jeans I would buy. Those are, now we're
There you
talking.
go.
If they're the kind of jeans you wear when you're getting face buttered by Carlton, then I'm in.
You're not a real Aussie actor unless you've separated two blokes and gone, hey, fellas!
Fellas,
calm it
settle
down.
down.
Please.
There's ladies here.
What's going on in South Australia?
Oh,
Rob
look,
Carlton?
Adelaide, the long nose of the law. An off-duty police officer's nose yesterday led to a hydroponic drug crop in the northern suburbs.
Right.
Senior Constable Ian Lockwood, and I quote, I was driving past and I noticed a strong cannabis smell. It was only by chance I drove past. Now, that sounds to me like the awful tones of guilt, right? Only by chance I drove past because I don't often come along this street. He did notice the smell. Mind you, his windows were up.
That's
The
good.
windows in the car were up. So I don't know what he was doing in the street, but nevertheless, his long nose, and apparently it's a hooter tone.
Labradors are green with envy.
Absolutely. And I seen this guy can't walk down the street without his nose leading him to some sort of mischief tone. And apparently, I read later on in the article that the South Australian Police Academy are looking at nose measurements for future intake, which I think can only be good because if it gets the kids off the green stuff,
It does.
right, and
It gets the cops onto it.
Yeah,
It's a good thing.
Absolutely. So I tell you what, thumbs up, Senior Constable Ian Lockwood,
Oh,
South
fantastic.
Australia.
Well done, sir.
And his nose. What about Queensland?
How are they going, Tone?
It's always water.
Oh, dear.
It's dry up there, Tone.
How can you resist this headline? Sex change hormone threat in sewerage warns Springbok.
Okay.
People should not be forced to risk feminisation by drinking recycled sewage. Queensland opposition leader, my favourite name to say at the moment, Lawrence Springbok, says, isn't it a great name? The Springbok Factor.
Yeah.
The talented Mr. Springbok. Springbok, where's my car? Sorry, outlining the case against treated effluent being added to southeast Queensland's water
They've
supply.
got to change that. There it is. That's the problem. Treated effluent
That's a
doesn't
bad-
sound delicious.
No, it doesn't.
It needs sort of
It
the word,
doesn't.
maybe chocolatey should be in there.
Fresh body water.
There we go.
We'll have to have a phone in about that.
That's what we'll
New
have.
names.
New names
for
for-
recycled
I would
water.
just go something completely erroneous, like charge.
There you go.
Discharge.
Presto.
Sorry, that's not.
Discharge.
Yeah, that's not right, is it? So
Nice
charge,
glass of discharge, please. But hey, forget the fecal matter.
Sorry.
What the hell is this deal with
Yeah, what's the matter?
feminisation?
What's going to happen
yeah.
to me?
Springbok is concerned that hormones left in the water could cause changes to the basic metabolism of species. There are unanswered questions about it, Springbok said. This is particularly true with female hormones, both artificial and natural.
Wait a
Isn't that
second.
bizarre?
So if they get into the charge up in Queensland,
Yeah.
we're going to create a new race
Of
A
girls.
new subclass of man ladies.
Queensland man ladies.
Hey, but what about the mayor?
Schooly's interesting.
The mayor of Brisbane, Hollywood actor Ed Harris,
Yes.
who moonlights as the city's Lord Mayor using the equity-approved name Campbell Newman, says, quote, I don't know what the problem is. There's water everywhere. Oh, no, hang on. That was when I was in the abyss. Scrub that. What's the problem with a little bit of harmless poo and feminisation when the state's very future is at risk?
Yeah.
I very much look forward to the day when I can hold aloft a glass of pure recycled water and say, I saved our future, even if I am sporting a faint poo moustache and a cocktail frock. Our water is as good as anyone's, I'll say, before giggling coquettishly and riding off on my girl's bike.
Yeah, look.
He's
you
got
think
my
they-
vote.
Do you think they hate us in Queensland by now?
No, I'm from Queensland. They'll love me for it.
I lived there for a year.
You did.
I was chased out by the Bjelke-Petersen government. What other news is there?
Handcuff news.
Handcuff news.
Handcuff news.
I can't believe you really went with handcuff. I don't think it needed that.
Off air, Tony said, how am I going to get to this next story? I said, what's it about, Tone? He said, oh, it's about handcuffs in Geelong. And Rob said, you just say it's handcuff news time.
And then he stands back like my work is done.
I tell you what,
That's why I get
Tony,
the big bucks.
there are tiny little enclaves all around the country that have been screaming for a segment like this.
This is their time.
Okay.
Try and tone, make them
Ladies and
wait no
gentlemen,
longer.
welcome to Handcuff News.
Well, madness reigns supreme here at Geelong Port, where earlier today a young lady protesting Australia's expanding wood chip industry handcuffed herself to the deck of a bulk wood chip carrier bound for Southeast Asia. Shortly afterwards, Les Daly, a representative of the shipping company, mounted a bold retaliation by handcuffing himself to the protester and reading aloud from the Forestry Industry Charter of Operations. Soon after, 3 further anti-logging protesters rushed from the crowd and handcuffed themselves to the surprised executive before launching into a spirited "We shall not be moved." At this point, Mr. Daly's bodyguards raced in and handcuffed themselves to the wailing throng. It was at this point Crazy John of Crazy John's mobile phones appeared, chaining himself to the end of the fast-growing queue, all the while extolling the benefits of his never-to-be-repeated low prices. But before news of this windfall, ironically the result of a shipping error, could be relayed to the crowd, a squad of detectives arrived and handcuffed themselves to Crazy John and a man in a giant mobile phone costume, before they too found themselves manacled to a new crew of protesters loudly bemoaning the government's IR legislation. Just as these activists found themselves locked onto by several lesser-known Big Brother evictees drawn by the TV news cameras and free refreshments, it became apparent that none of the varying protests and counter-protests was having any effect on the progress of the shipment. At 12:15 precisely, the ship left port as scheduled, stretching behind it a daisy chain of conflicting opinions, clashing musical styles, and the vague promise of brain-snapping mobile phone bargains literally dangling in the air. The last link in the chain, seen here water skiing behind the fast-departing shipment, was an unidentified naked gentleman, his butt cheeks emblazoned with the logo of a local radio station.
I'm invincible. I'm paying money. Oh, how good is this?
Ryan Shelton is our co-host this morning. He's a comedy writer about town. Dominic and the Girls says, can we please have Ed singing Your Body is a Wonderland as a ringtone? The other stuff is past its use-by date, and all us girls in the house want it.
Yeah, whatever.
Get rid of those old guy ringtones and give us Ed.
Look, what we're doing is we're going to have a ringtone chart for next week. That's what I'm going to say now. I'm not. It's up to Matt Dow to build it, so I feel comfortable just saying that. And all of them will be there,
Right.
so we don't need to play them on air anymore.
So you're not biting Dominic and the Girls. That sounds like some fun right there. Let's just see if we can get him. Come on, just throw some bait in the water.
Body is a wonderland.
They're loving it.
Your body is a wonderland.
I sound like him. All right, that's enough. Ricky M, stop it.
You know, it's very good, Ed. I think it's really good.
You don't.
No,
You
I
don't
don't.
like
I know I don't. But
That was terrible. Why did I do that? What was I thinking?
You were thinking maybe Dominic and the Girls.
Yeah.
Get on the blower.
Yeah.
Here's a mobile phone story for you from Chicago. Prosecutors say a Missouri man shoved a mobile phone down his girlfriend's throat.
Oh.
Because it started quite
It was
funnily,
funny
didn't
when
it?
if he did it to himself.
It was good until there were girlfriends. But it gets funny again.
Oh, good.
Don't panic.
Okay.
Because he was angry and jealous. As the trial started, defence attorneys insisted that the woman swallowed the phone herself intentionally to keep the defendant from seeing who she'd been calling. Would you do that? Oh, what'll I do with this? I'll eat it. I'll eat my own phone.
you'd wrap it in Glad Wrap first, wouldn't you, just to make it go down easier?
Perfect crime.
For hygiene reasons. And then imagine if your ringtone went off. Well,
I'm invincible. I'm paying money. The girl's happy. She's got no money.
Sorry, it's my
I got
phone.
my rocks off. Oh, how
I
good
won't
is
be able
this?
to answer it for another few hours.
I'm paying money.
Can
the
you
girl's
hold?
happy. She's got no money. I got my rocks off.
You know, when that first came on, I was like, oh no, the audio's, it's dead. Then it just clicked that, oh yeah, it's in her stomach.
There we go.
Very quick today.
It's theatre of the mind.
Hey, have we had enough of your your man Warwick Capper's stripping exploits yet?
Never.
For only $3,500, Warwick Capper will come and strip at your house.
I'll take it.
Done.
Takes him 35 minutes. That's what I can't work out. How does that take 35
It takes a
minutes?
while, like, get the shirt off over the bulge. If you want to get Warwick round to your house, right? These are some of the rules that you have to remember, Tone. This is on their website, Red Hot Strippers, blah, blah, blah. Red Hot Strippers do not perform outdoor shows on grass. Our entertainers can't be expected to perform on grass or dirty surfaces. Now, you must provide a covered area, i.e. patio, pergola, indoors, or garage.
Garage. We're not going to perform on dirt. We want to be in your garage.
At least sweep that garage. There we go. Oh, and you're not allowed to touch Warwick unless he directs your hand. So wherever Warwick puts your hand, touch away. Don't get feely, though.
What's your dad saying when he comes home and you're having your own Warwick Capper show in the garage?
Yeah, get away from my shadow board.
Don't touch the Malvern Star, Warwick. That is an old one.
Food. I know you love a bit of food,
what's
Ed
happened?
Carefully.
Yeah,
the Iranians
Oh, yes.
in Iran,
Oh, yeah.
you know
Wow.
their work.
Oh, yeah.
They've banned the word pizza.
Have they?
They're banning some 2,000 Western-style words. They've decided, bugger the Western-style words. We don't like the Western culture.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's get some new words of our own.
All right.
Pizza in Iran.
Wait. Can I guess?
Guess what it's called?
All right. Circle food.
No. They're calling it elastic loaf.
God.
That'll show the West. We
Elastic-
don't need their words. We have elastic loaf.
God, I'm hungry. Let's go to Elastic Loaf Hut.
The growing X-ray problem. We've flagged this before. Americans are growing so large
Come on.
that patients are increasingly too big to fit into X-ray scanners. Their fat is too dense for X-rays or sound waves to penetrate. When will they stop eating those Americans?
can't.
When they stop making reality TV shows is when they'll stop
There
eating.
you go.
They push this fat bloke into an X-ray machine. Nothing. Put him through again. It's like that bloke who tried to cook a chop in a toaster. Called us up. That's what it's like. Nah,
Takes-
do him again. Crank it up to 11. I can't see anything.
Takes 30 minutes, but it works.
I can't get through his pants. And what about, okay, because, a lot of people suggest that we don't get behind the music the way we should on this program.
Very true, Tone. But I've, so me and Gary Traction have set up a reaction line. I get this reaction line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we can get people's feedback for the music, and so they can help us, choose the music, etc.
Okay.
So let's just choose. I think someone's calling the hotline now, Ricky M. Let's see if we can listen in.
Thank you for calling the Get This Reaction line. Using this automated system, you can vote for any song you like. Just follow the prompts. To vote for Wise Men, James Blunt, press 1. To vote for Legs by ZZ Top, press 2. And to vote for another song, press 3. Please say the name of the song you wish to vote for.
AC/DC, Jailbreak.
You've selected James Blunt's Wise Men. If this is correct, press 1. Or say the name of the song you wish to vote for.
AC/DC, Jailbreak.
Thank you. Stay tuned to Get This to hear the songs you've asked for. It's all thanks to the Richard Marsland lingerie range and the Get This Reaction line.
Andy Griffiths, author of the Bum Trilogy and the fine new work for the younger reader, The Cat on the Mat is Flat, is with us today. I'm a huge fan of the Bum Trilogy. But what about the bad book? Didn't you get into a bit of trouble with that?
I got into a lot of trouble for that.
What was the main problem people had?
They didn't like the old woman who swallowed a poo.
Oh,
Toowoomba.
Yeah, exactly. A Queenslander.
now it's a life-saving measure.
They thought it wasn't like I was encouraging anyone to do it. I said,
No.
I don't know why she did it, and perhaps she'll spew, which of course she did at the end. So they also didn't like the bad mummy and the busy 6-lane highway, where a little boy asks his mum, "Can I run across this busy 6-lane highway with my eyes shut?" And she sort of goes, "Oh, I don't know." And he goes, "Please." And she goes, "Oh, all right then, but be careful." And she counts him down. He runs across the road and gets hit.
Oh.
And I thought it was the most powerful road safety message I could deliver.
People didn't see it that way.
They thought I was encouraging kids to run across the road with their eyes shut.
It seemed to me at one point that the bad book was almost turning into Australia's satanic verses.
Wow.
It was being banned at one point, wasn't it?
It was brought up in South Australian Parliament.
Right.
The minister was questioned as to why it was available in school libraries and public libraries.
Right.
And the most beautiful part was, and it's not the only book that he's written. He's also written The Day My Bum Went Psycho, and they went zombie bums from Uranus. And
So that's all in Hansard.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Read in this beautiful English accent. It's a very fulfilling job, this one.
Now, the Bumageddon trilogy. When are the movies coming?
I was just going to say.
It's surely about time, isn't it?
I don't know.
Optioned, surely.
It's been optioned, and
it has?
Yeah, about 4 years ago, and I can just imagine them sitting there scratching their heads.
All right, how can we get Nicole
how the
Kidman
hell-
into this?
How are we going to get people along to a movie? There's millions of bums running around trying to take over the world.
It would need to be like Pixar style, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's what I would think.
No, live action. It's got to be live action.
I think that would go out of the children's demographic.
Oh,
and
yes.
do
All right.
another one.
Well, okay, everyone's got their own
could
opinions,
work. The Cat on the Mat is Flat I'm assuming it's out in the shops now.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's not going to be labelled a book of hate.
What's been labelled a book of hate?
There's books of hate. You notice there's so much talk about hate books and banning hate books.
Oh, yes. What's on the list now?
Oh, Islamic extremism.
Yes,
books of hate. But I noticed the Islamic extremists are toning down their books of hate.
Are they?
They're making them more accessible.
That's good.
I purchased the Little Book of Hate just the other day. It's a sort of calmer version.
It's just sort of day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
You know, just stuff you can do in your car on your way to yoga lattes.
It's everyday hate for the person on the move. Just quickly, I should mention Mel Gibson. Obviously, we've been following that story. I think we've got a clip of Mel Gibson here.
Oh, right.
Sir, can I please have that bottle, please, sir? You can take my license, but you'll never take my tequila!
Oh, sorry, that was Richard Marsland on Rove last night with no pants on.
Is that your Scottish accent?
No, it was a drunken American Scottish thing. Very subtle. Thanks for that feedback.
But things are getting pretty serious for Mel Gibson. Disney's ABC TV network says it's planning to drop the Holocaust-themed miniseries which Gibson was working on.
Yeah, what was it? Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but Mel Gibson's dad claims that miniseries never happened and doesn't exist. Another charmer.
There we go.
Andy, you wrote a book a couple of years, or maybe just a year ago, trying to get kiddies to eat in a more healthy manner. Did you not?
Yes.
It's a big issue. You noticed it's exploded lately.
It's massive.
What was the key to it, do you think?
Well, I think the key to it is obviously eating too much food and doing too little exercise. And we live in a society where that urge to eat, billboards, radio, everything is constantly getting kids to eat.
And there's a lot of talk about junk food advertising for the kiddies.
Yes.
Here's a quote on the matter from Dick Wells, I think the president possibly of the Australian Food and Grocery Council.
It's about assisting consumers to use information and get better information to make better choices about the foods they eat as part of a balanced diet.
It's about eating less food!
Yes.
I mean, I know it's a radical idea, Andy. In the dieting caper, I know it's a mad scheme.
Yeah.
Try eating less food.
Wow, it's not going to catch on, Tone. You've got to have a long-winded explanation like that guy. That's what the kids want.
We keep seeing these blokes in America having to be craned out of their house to the hospital.
I love that stuff.
You know, a guy who's like the size of a football field.
I love it.
And you're going, how's he getting to the fridge?
He's not.
Where's the food
No,
coming
people
from?
are feeding him from a stick. That's honestly, I think that's what's going on.
Don't feed them. I think food is the key.
You reckon?
I reckon it comes down to food.
Too simplistic.
And a bit of exercise.
That's true.
But junk foods are getting more
If you go
delicious.
a marathon every day, you can eat what you like.
There you go. But junk foods are getting more delicious as well.
That's true.
They're forever finding new ways to insert, chocolates and stuff.
And there's the advertising on TV, but there's also the internet. Listen to this.
It's the web that's the biggest concern, holding children in a virtual world of food.
A world of food?
Whoa.
I've got to get there.
I mean, I thought porn was the problem on the internet. Apparently it's a world of food.
Virtual world of food.
You would love the idea of a virtual world of food, don't you, Ed Cavalier?
He's so happy there.
Well, it has been said in children's books that food is the child's porn. And if you look at Enid Blyton, they're always eating lashings of ginger cakes.
Oh,
and,
it's very fruity.
Oh, my gosh.
Lashings. Look, Ed Cavalier is staring into the middle distance, imagining a world of food.
How do kids get stuck in a virtual world of food? What, are they spending hours on the Snickers website? Just lovingly caressing peanuts? This is what are they talking about?
Obviously, you've got kids, Andy. What happens? Are there pop-ups with, burgers on them? Are there? What's the world of food?
My 5-year-old is just stuck on the Barbie site at the moment.
What's on there?
It's plastic food.
What's Barbie up to these days? Is she president yet?
She's working on it. Yeah,
she's working on her tan and becoming president.
Did she get divorced from Ken?
Oh, she did. She dumped him for a
surfer
called Jai or something.
How's that going? Do you know?
I don't think it's got legs.
Yeah,
You know
plastic insiders say it's not going to work. Is Barbie heading for president? If she's going to be president, she's going to have to learn to say the word nuclear.
Oh, is she?
Have a listen to George Bush again.
The world is intent upon working together to make sure that they do not end up with a nuclear weapon or the know-how to build a nuclear weapon.
Wouldn't they just write the word nuclear on a card and hold it up in front of him when he's talking? How can you tell people they can't build nuclear weapons when you can't even say it?
That's why people are confused. They don't know what they're not meant to be building.
You're still back in that virtual world of food.
To be honest, just then I was thinking about Barbie running for president against George Bush. So,
author Andy Griffiths, he's with us today. What sort of, where have you been? What kind of shows do you have to go on apart from this dopey one?
I often do a lot of kids shows.
Right.
The Saturday Disney and hard-hitting current affairs shows like that.
Do you have to go on the serious book shows and talk about the day my bum went psycho?
No, they're not really that interested in me.
There was a great reference to the day my bum went psycho on Kath and Kim.
Oh, yes.
Somebody said it was written by Bryce Courtney.
Yeah, Kim says, she attributes it to Bryce Courtney. Yeah.
And then someone then told me they heard someone ask Bryce Courtney about that on a show and he didn't see the humour in it, apparently.
No, they said, what about, your supposed authorship of The Day My Bum Went Psycho? He said, that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
You should put that on the cover.
Yeah.
That's a good quote for the cover of the book.
I don't know if my readership would respect Bryce Courtney.
No, that's what I mean.
Even care.
Mum, can we get a copy of The Potato Factory? What about the women's mags? There's some fine reading.
I haven't looked this week. What's going on?
Oh, there's always something going on. Avril Lavigne has married somebody with the surname Wibley. And I'd like to think that she is now going to be Avril Wibley. I'd love to be talking about the Avril Wibley sound. It's just fun to say.
Wibley.
Mickey Rourke appears to be melting.
Oh, dear.
I wouldn't leave
What's
him
happened?
near a heater.
Oh, dear.
It's too late. He already has been.
What's going on there? He's still picking up the ladies, though.
Who's he with?
Oh, Tara Reid. She's been melting for years.
She's gone great. Isn't she gone wild?
She's always
continuously
gone wild.
going wild.
She's in Paradise. People take them real seriously, the women's
I know
magazines. They do. They do.
It's life and death for some people.
It certainly is.
Hello, suicide hotline. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, who's that? Are you all right?
Yes, look. It's been 2 weeks now.
Yes.
And there hasn't been one single photograph of baby Suri in any of the magazines.
Please, just calm down. Sorry, who are you talking about?
Little baby Suri. There hasn't been any photographs of her.
Is this the Tom Cruise's baby? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes, baby Suri.
Right. Are you a relative of Tom Cruise?
No, I'm just a normal person.
And you're a Tom Cruise fan?
Well, actually, I did see Top Gun when I was at school, and I think I might have seen Rain Man on TV. And my husband likes the Mission Impossible films, but there's too many explosions for me.
So hang on. So you haven't seen really any Tom Cruise films at all? What about Katie Holmes?
I'm not even sure who she is. I think she was in something that my children watch. I don't know. There's no pictures.
All right, please just calm down. What about? Surely there's something else that can help here. Aren't there photographs of Princess Mary's baby?
There are, but I'm over them. I want to see photos of baby Suri.
What about Brad and Angelina? Surely.
I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, insiders say that Angelina's feeling clucky again already.
Right.
But I can't be sure because the sources aren't confirming it.
They're not right. What about
the pals? I don't know what the pals think or the friends. Even the onlookers can't confirm anything. I'm sick of Angelina. I need pictures of baby Suri.
Right. What about Nicole Kidman.
Nicole's telltale baby mum. I'm not even sure if it's real. I've looked at the photos. It might have been done with Photoshop. I can't tell.
Beck and Leighton?
I think Beck's feeling lucky as well, but I can't see a telltale baby mum there either. I just don't know where I stand anymore. I'm confused.
Look, let's take this one step at a time. Go back to Princess Mary. I mean, isn't she having another baby?
Oh, look, apparently the baby mum is set tongues wagging. But I can't tell. I need babies.
What about Vince and Jen? Vince and Jen, surely...
I think Vince has derailed Jen's wedding plans. The fairy tale wedding isn't going to happen.
Misha Barton, surely...
I don't want to know about Misha's trout pout, boob job, derailed wedding plans, fairy tale wedding, or that dress.
That dress? What dress?
The one involved in the tug of love, boob job, anorexia fear scandal.
Look, surely you could just find some photos of any baby and just pretend that they're photos of baby Sue. Wouldn't that be just as...
I need new photos of baby Sue. I'm confused. I've got no direction
Can I ask...
in life.
Can I ask, madam, who are you? What do you do for a living?
I'm the editor of the Woman's Day.
You're the editor.
Yes. And if I don't get any photos, I'm going to throw myself under a train.
Right, you're the editor, and you're going to throw yourself under a train.
Yes, I am.
Right, have you got an accurate timetable? Because I can send one.
Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.